So I've been trying to explain all of this constantly, going back and forth from kind of one thing to another thing. And basically this all started right with my ex. And this psychologist was employed by Waterford Tussle. I've spoken about this in previous videos, so I don't want to go too much into details. But this woman, the psychologist, right, had previous interaction with my family, so she should have been nowhere near me, let alone recruiting myself and my ex into this Baha'i religion. I started telling people that this woman was employed by the HSC and she was using kind of her power within the HSC to employ, to recruit people basically into this religion. There's the religion there, see it? Baha'i religion. This is about 8-10 months after I started telling people about this. See the HSC promoting it, and it's very unethical. They believe in kind of manipulating people, kind of. I deemed it to be a cult. I left this in previous videos. So I don't want to go into too much details about it, but the breach of code of conduct from this woman is immense, and she's very, very, very corrupt. She should be investigated. She should not be employed by our health service. Do you know what I mean? She should be investigated. I spoke about her husband, who was my psychology teacher out in Tramore, and he was basically using that. This was his first year teaching psychology. I had known him. He was a woodwork teacher when I was 16 down Outreach, and I was after asking him what he was doing or why he was doing this, and he explained that he was doing it to help his wife Anne and Carrie, Pat Carrie's their names, to help her spread the word of this Baha'i religion thing. Now, it's a cult. He was definitely inviting students up, and there's a Tramore ETB, see it there, ETB Tramore. So this is where I was attending there, and he was inviting students up to his house. And when I complained about him, this is what they said. Following interest from learners, he offered information on the Baha'i faith. This occurred outside the classroom during breaks. So basically, he was implying basically that this group of students were inquiring about this obscure religion that him and his wife just happened to be recruiting for. Now think of that, people are not stupid. You can see this for what it was. I mean, there would have been no way that they would have brought up this religion unless he brought it up. There's a code of ethics. You're not supposed to bring up religious kind of stuff, sexual stuff, and do you know what I mean? They know all this. And that should all be investigated as well, to be honest with you. Yeah, but my ex is still in this religion, right? And this woman she's basically caused nothing but havoc in my life, my family's life, and they're trying to gag me now. By the time we get to court in January, where she's after lodging another safety order, and I'm going to show documentation there once and for all in there, just to show you the character of this person and what I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? And what other people are dealing with. And there's a lot of sexual slander spread, right? Regarding, I took her to court over the course of 16, 17 months. And there was a load of pornography, kind of lists of pornography, and it was supposed to be mine. And there were 3 times they were spread around Waterford, right, by people I didn't know. But the people that done it, they had contact with me ex, about a week before this was done, they had contact with me ex. So you can kind of draw your own conclusions from that. And I'm just going to explain what kind of as a man, what I've had to deal with through them family courts, and basically from there, I'll explain then how several organisations within Waterford spread all this kind of sexual kind of stuff. Waterford Council, members of Sinn Féin, Waterford Gardaí. When they discovered then that they shouldn't have kind of jumped in feet first into spreading this kind of sexual slander, it was too late, basically. Do you know what I mean? So now what they're trying to do is they're trying to gaslight me, discredit me, and they're basically trying to make it look that they had just cause. They're trying to condone the corruption of what they done, because they harassed me late mother. You won't believe, this is crazy stuff. You can probably hear the sirens, or this goes on every time I try and make a video. But as I said, it's an effort to just try and discredit me. And yeah, it's time I started talking about this down there, and I will get to all the Waterford Gardaí members of Sinn Féin and the Halligan family and all this, and why I'm arguing with these people. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not even arguing with you. I'm just trying to present information. They won't let me present the information. Do you know what I mean? And I'd like to think that people are not stupid. They should be entitled to both sides of the information, and they can make their own minds up. So there you have, like there it is. It's a documented proof, right? This Baha'i religion, right, being pushed by the HSE. The HSE shouldn't be pushing any kind of religion. That's a fact. No kind of religion. Catholicism, fucking Presbyterian, Scientology, no kind of religion. Do you know what I mean? And like as I said, yes, documented. And anything I said about this Anne and Pat Carey, right? They can pull the paperwork of this, and they can show me to be a liar. And like, there's a lot of people want me to be sent to fucking jail and to be kind of like silenced. Do you know what I mean? So there's your opportunity. If I'm lying, go down that route. Do you know what I mean? But they won't go down that route because they've already checked and they've seen that I'm speaking the truth. And to be honest with you, like, this woman covered up fucking. I spoke about this in previous videos. I'm not going to go into it. She covered up for Tusla allegations of sexual abuse. I was a witness in the case. You'd have to go backwards into the videos and see that. So like, it's in Tusla's kind of interest to protect this woman, and this woman is who's protecting my ex, basically, who's still in this religion that this woman recruits for, her and her husband, actually, this Baha'i religion. So my ex appeared, right, on the Two Norries podcast in October 2022, and she basically implied, I was actually going to play it, but I was told that there might be copyright infringements, that apparently you can't play somebody else's videos over kind of legal reasons. So I can only tell you, like, she basically implied, right, that I was abusive, that she got out of rehab in 2008. I wouldn't stop taking drugs, basically, and kind of I ruined the relationship, and kind of we had to break up and all this kind of stuff. Now, it was just lie from start to finish from this person. This person has absolutely no filter. Do you know what I mean? And this is not about me having some kind of revenge thing or all this kind of thing. And in court, they claimed that I wouldn't let go of the relationship. This is the shit they were like doing now. Now, I moved out twice. Twice I moved out to get away from this woman. You know what I mean? And the second time I even agreed, right? We could only break up on the condition that she was allowed to go around and tell all our hair clients that she chose to break up. Now, I know that probably sounds petty, but like, that's the way this person thinks. Like, she's so kind of concerned about what people thinks about her. Like, that's the kind of person I'm dealing with. But I agreed on that, and I moved out twice. Do you know what I mean? I was happy to get away from this person. And in court, then they claimed that I won't let go of the relationship, and like nothing could be further from the truth. I spent years trying to get away from this woman. But on this Two Norries podcast in 2022, she basically claimed I was abusive. She said that a neighbour had told her, and she couldn't hear, that I was a known drug dealer. I was never going to be accepted in Tramore. Now, bearing in mind, she was on this podcast to promote this kind of fucking hair program thing that she was doing. Now, I could go into all of that because that's actually my idea. It was supposed to be a tattoo school. She ruined it for me. All this sexual slander down water for basically destroyed kind of Andy Hope starting a tattoo business. And she said that this neighbour basically said this. Now, I wrote to the Two Norries, and the open letter is on my TikTok, because my mother met this neighbour. She went into the shop, and the other neighbour, she's actually a nice woman. Do you know what I mean? And if she was as good friends as my ex was saying, she wouldn't be carrying fucking stories of what the woman would have told her, would she? But as usual, she just throws everyone under the bus as long as she comes out smelling like roses. But this elderly woman, I was parked outside the shop with my sister, and I spoke about this, and my mother went into the shop, and I didn't tell my mother about all this kind of like sexual slander that was being spread around about me. And my mother came out of the shop and she was crying. And obviously we asked her what was up, and this elderly woman, who was a friend of kind of like myself and my ex, and she had met my mother, and she had stopped my mother, and she said that she was sorry about kind of what was happening spread about me and all this, and nobody believed it, and like, it was basically that kind of stuff. But as I said, my mother didn't know about this, so this was news to her. So my mother came out of the shop crying, and then my ex appears on this podcast and says that this woman says that I was a known drug dealer and that I'd never been accepted in Waterford or in Tramore, sorry. And anyone in Tramore that would have known me knows that I kept to myself. I didn't have any arguments with people or anything like that. Like, it's just, I kept to myself. It was just myself and the kids. And people around Tramore, they knew myself and the kids from like kind of like constantly being around down by the beach, down by the amusements, because like, I had the kids all day. She was off doing her hair, craving her attention to get her hair things. And And yeah, and where she touches on the subject where she was advised in rehab not to do hair for 2 years, she barely touches on and jumps off the subject straight away. She was advised not to do hair because it was taken from her personality. This is a fact. I was in the group with her because she was in me kind of class, and they advised her when she was to get out of rehab that she wanted to do hair for 2 years, that she craves this validation, which she kind of says that she didn't get it from fucking her peers growing up. I'm not going to get into all of that, but this is why she was not to do hair, and this is why she touched on the subject. But yeah, she ended up doing it morning, noon, and night. Like constantly had to be the center of attention. And anyone knows this woman knows exactly what I'm saying is 100% fucking true. But anyway, she appears on the podcast, she appears in this podcast anyway, 2022, the two Norries. And as I said, now this is not about revenge or that. This is about showing you the character of this person. And she implies, I won't stop taking drugs, basically, and fucking obviously I was supposed to be a known drug dealer and all this kind of stuff. It made me out to be abusive. Now parts of this podcast they took out. You can see it on me on the TikToks. They sent me on a half-arsed apology from the two Norries, but they still left up our podcast despite me proving that it was littered with fucking lies. Do you know what I mean? Like, they still let it up. My ex was on that podcast, right? And she got the grant for this kind of hair program that she was fucking pushing, which was essentially my tattoo school idea. She just changed it for a hairdressing instead of tattooing. But now she's also going into tattooing. So this is basically just because I can't have anything at all. Do you know what I mean? This is what she does. Her whole day will be kind of filled up with kind of like destroying my life. But anyway, someone somewhere pulls strings somewhere as she wins this enterprise grant, skips the queue, gets the enterprise grant. The two Norries have her on, they're laughing and joking, oh yeah, we were in for the same yoke. After having her on, the two Norries gets the enterprise grant. So the two Norries can't really take down her podcast because it shows that they received their 30 pieces of fucking silver to have her on the show, which was all arranged by Tussler. She makes several references to a good friend that she has in Tulsa. This is the woman that recruited me and her into this fucking cult. And it is a cult. And this is probably going to take me a while to explain, believe it or not, because it's just so kind of like, you wouldn't believe that a woman can be so kind of nasty and toxic. And I'm not joking, and I'm not just like alleging this and alleging that. I'm going to show documentation that would dispute and discredit this person. And this is why she's running to the courts, because in a family court they'll side with kind of the emotional impact of the kids finding out that their mother has after been exposed as a liar. This is it. Otherwise she would have gone through a criminal court or a civil court. But in them courts the judge would air both sides of the argument and he would have sided with the truth. So anyway, she implies anyway that I want to stop taking drugs and all this stuff, and basically I was a bad father and all this kind of stuff. And right there, right, we have a parenting agreement there, right? I know you can see that, right? So that parenting agreement is from the 1st of April 2014 and it was the last 5 years, right? And if I was such like a bad father and a drug addled kind of whatever way you want to put it, I don't really know, right? She signed this, right? She signed me over the kids, right, where I had the kids 6 days a week. 6 days a week now. Do you know what I mean? So she signed over the kids to somebody that was so badly on drugs and all this kind of other stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? Think about that. That she signed over the kids for 6 days a week. Now, does that make any sense to anybody? No, I don't. And that was the 1st of April 2014, and that's signed by me and signed by her. So that documentation is still there, right? Now, this is a message from January 2017 from her. Why would I be messing you around? I don't want to be in and out of court for the next 3 years and still getting nowhere. It's the girls that miss out. We have both had time to settle down after what happened and move on. You're a good man, John. You always were. You're a good father. The kids love you, especially blank. She never even wants to blank. She never even wants to speak to blank, but loves when she speaks to you on the phone. She never makes excuses when it's time to talk to you, and they are both looking forward to spending more time with you. Whatever happened after your dad passed happened. Let's just move forward positively and solve things between us. Now, this is January 2017. So that's between like the parenting agreement, right? which is 2014, sorry, and this is like 2017. So that's kind of covering both spectrums, like, of what she's after saying on the two Norries. So that discredits what she was saying on the two Norries, and it shows that this person is a liar. Not only is she a liar, she's deadly, deadly dangerous. And do you know what I mean? And I should have a right to defend myself. If she can appear on podcasts, right, and reveal to Ireland that I have a fucking criminal record for selling drugs, despite being 20 odd years old, do you know what I mean? She takes it upon herself, like, to appear on a podcast, which is supposed to be business based, but she brings me up into it. Do you know what I mean? With her third party information that the neighbour said this and fucking, do you know what I mean? The neighbour didn't say that. The neighbour approached my mother and told her all the stuff that was going around. I'll just give you an idea, like, of one of the messages going around, right? You should be ashamed of yourself. Tell people about you serving 6 years for drugs and 4 years for interfering with your kids. You're a mental patient that should be locked up. So that's the kind of stuff, like, there's loads of like messages, like, I'm not going to read a whole lot because I'll be here forever, but there's loads of kind of messages like that. And this resulted from her dropping the kids down, right? As soon as the kids would go back to it, all this, there'd be this sexual slander spread all around the place through the network of Sinn Féin, through the guards, through fucking tattooists, everywhere you can imagine, to try and socially shun me, because, like, at the heart of this, there's that whole kind of like psychologist. That's who's essentially pulling the strings of all this. And as I said, like, you can easily just get the paperwork and just pull the paperwork and just prove me to be either lying or telling the truth. They won't do that because they've already pulled that paperwork, and if they open up that fucking tin of worms, like, there would be chaos, because there's so many members, corrupt members within Waterford City Council, right? And I don't mind saying they all have a hand in Sinn Féin. Like, what's that about? Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that all Sinn Féin is like that, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to hide behind the Sinn Féin party. These are the morons that are dragging the party down, that Sinn Féin should step up and get rid of. Do you know what I mean? Small-time drug dealers, corrupt guards, the corruption within Waterford Council. Do you know what I mean? What links all these people together is they're all members of fucking Sinn Féin. Now, I'm going to start talking, like, about kind of like what I had to go through with my ex, because when I left that religion, right, I left in August 2014. I spoke, if you go back to my last videos, I spoke about an incident down Kilkenny College where they basically tried to condition the kids. They weren't allowed to make pizza unless they chanted this prayer. They tried to lock us in the school down there. Fucking, it was just all a set up. It was supposed to be a kids' day out. They told us then we were obliged to stay the weekend, and I'm sure there's records of this with Kilkenny College. There'll be records of that, so that also can be proven, right? But after that, they tried for 3 months to get me to rejoin because they were concerned. Because I was telling people, and I've been honest with you, that what was really going on in this religion, and I was warning people, and it was trickling through our hair clients, basically. Because she was inviting them up, because this is what they were telling her to do. Invite them up one by one. This is what they tell you, right? Invite them up one by one, because they're easier to manipulate. If there's a group of people and there's only one person, never in twos, invite them up one by one. So while she was trying to invite them up, I was basically telling people really what was going on. Do you know what I mean? So I became a risk, and I didn't speak to these people. I absolutely detested these people for kind of like luring my family into this. I had absolutely no contact whatsoever with these people, and this was in August. Up until November, I'd say they were trying everything in that, and they're trying to get me to go back and study my psychology kind of yoke. They told me if I just sit in the class, I'd get me credit because it was being taught by the husband. I refused. I said no fucking way. I didn't want to be around them. Then they stopped us being intimate, myself and my ex. The only thing we had in common was sex and drugs, I'm being honest with you. And they stopped us being intimate. Basically, she said that I would have to convert to this Baha'i if we were to engage in kind of sexual relations. And that was the day I walked out of there and I said, you need to go speak to your family. And like, I moved back up to kind of an apartment I had in Tramore, and that was November 2014. And unfortunately, my father got sick in December 2014, and they tried to put on a big show that they were being all concerned and all this kind of stuff. And my father sadly passed away in January 2015, and my ex brought fucking Anne and Pat Carey, the two people who lured us into this religion. My family didn't know him. I detested these people. She purposely didn't bring the kids. The kids knew I didn't speak to these people, and they knew how I felt about these people. So the kids would have been like, why would you bring these people? So she purposely didn't bring the kids, and my father would have been very close to the kids now. And but her best friend came. Do you know what I mean? And her best friend knew how I felt because she was lured into this religion thing as well, and she knew how I felt about them and how they felt about me, and she was like, "What the hell is she bringing these people to your father's funeral for?" And it was at my father's funeral then I kind of put two and two together when I seen her laughing and joking with the minor that I spoke. I was a witness in the case, and she was laughing and joking with the minor of that case. And I realised then who she was, and she knew I realised who she was. So the shit hit the fan. And there was a big slagging match from kind of December and January, because the day I buried my father, she announced that she was going up to Dublin for a chillax, just trying to fuck with me head, I'm being honest with you. And yeah, all kind of shit broke loose after that. Basically, they tried everything and anything to try and discredit me, try and imply I have mental health problems. I don't have any mental health problems. I know I don't go around things probably the right way. If I'm being honest with you, I'm probably too kind of brash and kind of too hot-headed. I understand that. I don't have any mental health problems. I can tell you that. The documentation speaks for itself, does it not? And yeah, so that's where all this kind of like sexual slander then started begun. Her hair clients started spreading that. Now, one or two of these clients have actually apologized to me and said that they didn't know such a person was the way they were, basically. And they apologized because they were told to spread it from A to B to C. They were never told to go to the guards with it. They were told to spread it everywhere through social media and letterboxes, and never ever go to a guard about it. And as I said, we were arguing back and forth around January 2015. I'd only buried my father, remember, so kind of like just to cut through this shit, then I just went down and I just lodged court proceedings in February for access, custody and guardianship. And I just want to talk about, in my next videos coming up, what this woman put myself and my family through into the family courts. And she doesn't want this coming out. Do you know what I mean? She's already after been discredited by what she's after saying on the two Norries. Like everything, like 90% of what this person says is a lie, and it revolves around her coming out as some kind of being the hero. Do you know what I mean? You see on the podcast, she's throwing her parents under the bus. Do you know what I mean? She's on the podcast, they're talking about her friend said this, so she's throwing her friends under the bus. Like in town, locally, this is no word of a lie. You can ask people in Waterford. People assumed that I was abusing the kids. Do you know what I mean? And like, that would mentally fucking destroy you, if I'm being honest with you. But she knew that. She knew that this was being said, because I was after saying it in court multiple times, and she was after swearing, no, this is not true, and I'd never implied that. He was a great father. And then when the courts were on a kind of break, she sent me down this letter saying, due to my unthinkable actions towards the kids. Now, what do you think? Like that would kind of, what kind of response would that emit? Well, obviously it did. It wound me up to the fucking last. But like, and in court then she said that, she meant that the kids are having to move. Now the judge didn't believe her, and I am going to get to reading that letter. It's just I have so much documentation, and I don't want to be kind of getting too far ahead of myself. So that's the plan. I'm going to start now talking about from kind of February onward, February 2015 onwards, and kind of this went on till June 2016. I'm waiting to kind of just hear of the stuff that I had to go through to try and please the courts over this woman's lies before she started getting caught, and they tried to transfer my case up to Dublin. Apparently I had requested that my case be moved to Dublin, and when the only reason and how I found out about this, I refused the letter. And how I found out about this, I got the letter of refusal to say that me case was after being rejected to go to Dublin. Someone had filled out all the forms and made it look like it was me wanting to move the case to Dublin. And like there's a load of other stuff. And like you won't believe this stuff, and they are mad to try and suppress all this. And it's in Waterford Council's interest and members of Sinn Féin and Waterford Gardaí. And this is why they're kind of following us from A to B. And like if you talk about it, right, you look fucking deranged or insane. If you don't talk about it, you have to constantly tolerate it. So you're kind of, it's a grey area. I'm going to just take it from there anyway. And as I said, what I said about Anne and Pat Carey, Anne Carey is employed by the HSE by Waterford Tussle. She's a doctor in psychology, sexual psychology and social psychology. You can prove or disprove her involvement in fucking my family's life. So she shouldn't have been around. And as for Pat Carey, he was my tutor in Tramore ETB in 2013/2014. That can be proved also, because I also lodged a complaint with Tramore ETB cover up, but I'll get to all that in time. So both these things can be proved. Do you know what I mean? And as for me ex on our Two Nordies podcast, like, I'm going to talk about all of that because she said so many things that are just lies. She actually took parts of my story, being honest, saying that she had panic attacks on buses. She purposely said that. That was me. That's documented in me doctors. I was having severe fucking panic attacks on buses, and I was trying to sit on buses with all this sexual slander going around about me, so you couldn't imagine the fucking impact that was having on me. Yeah, and her whole kind of like 888 reference, which she decides to bring up again. Everyone knows that that was a kind of that was me mother's kind of thing. She thought that the H used to follow her. I'm not going to talk about this. It's in the last video if you want to look into it. But yeah, I've never heard anything. I've never heard of a woman to act in the way this woman has acted before. And what the crazy thing about it is she's been backed by Tussle. And the reason she's been backed by Tussle and this psychologist who's backing her is Tussle needs to protect that psychologist, because that psychologist made a case go away that I was a witness in, and that can be also be fucking checked. Something I forgot to add there that I wanted to add, right? The parenting agreement of 2014, right? And also then you have your the message that she sent me in January 2017, right? And then she's claiming on the Two Norries that I stopped taking drugs, and like, so this would be what, 2009, 2010, and but she signed me over the kids in 2014. She signed me over the kids for 6 days a week. Do you know what I mean? And then that parenting agreement supports your message from 2017, saying that I was a good father. So that shows the credibility of this person, where like she will lie about anything whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? And all I'm doing, I'm not fucking, this is not a revenge thing, I've said this before, I'm only defending myself. She's the one on public podcasts saying whatever she wants, thinking she can kind of manipulate her way around fucking everything, and that, as usual. And I'm going to call this out once and for all. And I'm going to show documented proof. I'm going to show like loads of stuff that she doesn't want me showing. I just want to show that she's basically a liar. Like her credibility. Go back and listen to the episode 124 on the Two Nordies. They took out I think they took out 2 minutes of her lies and they left the rest up. As I said, I can't play the video over copyright issues or something like that, but I can read out the transcript, and I'm going to give you my version of what she says, like the truth, and you can decide for yourself which is the truth and which is not the truth. And she can claim then in our courts in January, when we go up to court in 2023, she claimed the same thing, that I can't let go of the relationship. This woman has been a constant fucking thorn on my side. I don't ring her. I don't answer the phone to her. I don't write to her. I have nothing to do with this woman. Do you know what I mean? She's just a bad mistake. Do you know what I mean? She tried to ruin me fucking wedding. Like, the child can't have a birthday. And like it's just constantly kind of some kind of drama with her, kind of a funeral, she constantly imposes herself into my life. Do you know what I mean? Over and over and over again. And this is going on since like 2016 now, because she breached the court orders. I was awarded the kids, but she laughed at me outside the court and just breached the orders. And that's the true nature of this person. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I just want to show one more thing there. Look, see this? That's the star from this religion thing that she's into. Like, why would that bother me? Do you know what I mean? If that had nothing to do with it. This is a letter from my daughter, that she had the child write this kind of fucking logo from this Baha'i religion, and that's the 28th of 7th 2021. That's actually my birthday. This is the kind of stuff she does. Like, her safety orders were lodged on me mother-in-law's birthday, dropped down to her house actually. There's loads of stuff. I'm going to speak about all of this, and I'll give you some kind of insight into kind of the true character of what I'm dealing with. And as I said, it's not about revenge or anything like that. It's about defending myself, and I believe I have a right to defend myself. Yeah, so I'll leave it there. Thanks.